In 1996, ASTA, the American String Teachers Association, recognized that there were not enough string teachers for the existing string programs in the United States. And it also recognized that there were fewer string and orchestra programs around the country than in the past.
So the National String Project Consortium was formed in 1998, and then in the early 2000s, through some federal grants, they were able to open sites across the country, and that was really when it became a larger organization.
And so we started programs at the University of Wyoming, and University of Arizona, the University of Kentucky, Marywood, and many others.
It was originally formed under the auspices of ASTA. Since then, we've become an independent nonprofit organization, and we work in collaboration with other music organizations like ASTA to pursue developing string education across the country.
As the director of the University of South Carolina String Project for 15 years, I saw how a program like a string project could really change a community. The string project concept itself predated the USC String Project. It's based on the program at the University of Texas, started by Professor Albert Gillis. That program became nationally recognized under the direction of cellist and educator Phyllis Young. The difference is that the UT program was mostly for graduate students, and we changed this idea into a training program for undergraduate students because we felt like we needed to attract more young people to the teaching profession at the start of their college careers.
Well, String Project is a huge reason why I came to Marywood because it gives such a hands-on experience from the day you walk through that door. Everything that you're doing with our supervisors that can help and give us advice.
Each site will have a director and a master teacher, as well as student teachers, and then obviously the children.
I think what's unique and special about String Project is the idea that it guides me directly right on track with what I want to do with my life. This experience is kind of like the pre-service to being a teacher in terms that it teaches me a lot about what makes a great teacher.
10 years later, we had 35 string projects around the country, and now there are 41 programs in 22 states. 3,000 children currently enrolled in these string projects, and about 436 undergraduate students are learning to become string teachers by teaching in these programs. Now we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the NSPC, and it's interesting to see the effects of the program over that period of time.
I come from a traditional European conservatory training, and there was nothing like String Project involved in that training at all. So after I started and got going with it, I realized what an absolute pleasure it is to be a part of this program. I was not expecting to enjoy and experience joy working with children.
My name is Miriam, and I'm 9 years old, and I play the violin, and I played for 4 years.
When you walk out onto a stage with people who come up to your knees, and then you stand in front of an orchestra of kids whose legs don't really touch the floor, and you're part of working with them, alongside them, and sharing with them the process of making music, how to make music, the technique behind making music, and then actually the performance process itself, that's just utterly delightful. There's no other way to describe it.
Well, I love the music too. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but then we get the hang of it. Sometimes we get in the beginning of class we start playing scales, and then we go over our music for orchestra too. Then I like that.
My name is Alyssa, and I go to North Pocono High School. And I'm a senior this year, and I'm planning on going to school for music. The instructors are very, very good. They really know how to perform themselves, but teach at a level that any student can understand.
It's a learning experience for the students just as much as it is for us. We get to learn throughout this whole process and really find what being a teacher means to us.
I think what has excited me about being a teacher is thinking back on my previous teachers that I had. I really like how they kind of provoked my passion for music, and I think me being that guide for the students is amazing.
I'm a great believer that Hot Cross Buns and the Brahms Violin Concerto are very much the same. They are fundamentally the same process. We have the craft of playing, the technique of playing. We have to understand how the music is put together. We have to understand the music, the magic in the music, how that works, and then how to communicate that to the audience. And it doesn't matter if you're 4 and you are playing hot cross buns, you're in the same process. The actual essence of that process is the same. Several years ago, I happened to be staying with a friend who's a choral director, and they pulled up Eric Whittaker's virtual choir. And I just thought, gosh, isn't that a great idea? The virtual orchestra hadn't come up as a potential outlet for this idea, so I was just sort of storing it away as a good idea. And then when we started talking about this, I thought, well, why not? Why shouldn't you have kids playing? Why shouldn't they get up and film themselves? And why shouldn't you create a collage of children doing this? And it gives us something afterwards that has longevity and can be shared through all the online mediums. You know, if you just have one performance, it's done. It's over and done, and it's great, but it doesn't really help us move beyond the people who are actually in that audience at that time. So the virtual orchestra allows us to bring all these children together and to really reach a large audience. So that was really the beginning of it. And then we got hold of Brian Balmages, and we spoke to him, and what was great about talking to him was he immediately understood the concept.
The idea was floated to me by Beth Reed, which is, she's with the National String Project Consortium. And what she said was that they wanted to have a piece that would feature string projects from all over the country, and they wanted this piece to somehow to be able to involve all of them in a performance. And they had this idea of creating a virtual orchestra where orchestras at each individual project site would record either parts or all of this piece and then basically send it to an engineer who's going to put it together.
As is with all his music, he writes just absolutely gorgeous music for beginners and for early stages of string playing. And that's really difficult to do. When you think of the skill restrictions, to write something that's genuinely beautiful is very, very challenging.
The virtual orchestra project is exciting because I think it's fascinating how so many different orchestras just like this one get to perform collectively, and how I'm able to bring what I see music as, how I am as a player, what I've learned here, to a larger project.
For I think the first time ever, we're using technology to bring that many kids together through music. And they're each individually responsible as they make their videos, but also cohesively responsible. Their individual contribution creates something much bigger than any of us. And I think that's really special.
It's all like up with different people, like from the different levels, because usually you don't get to like play with the little group from there, but we all like are together playing it.
Have you recorded yet?
Yeah,
Recording?
I did.
How'd that go?
I did a little bad though, but I think I still did good.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome.
Of course, the number, 3,000 of us all coming together is really cool. I think it kind of brings us back and kind of shows us the main goal of being an ensemble, which is all of us together working towards a common goal will make an amazing performance and an amazing project.
This was a case where the title came first. To me, immediately, I was like, this piece is greater than, right? It's greater than any individual string project site, any individual program. It's all about the collective whole. And that's where the whole idea was born.
The idea of uniting hundreds of different people all over the country and basically combining their efforts into one massive performance that they could all share in and be a part of seemed like a very kind of empowering and inspiring idea.
Rory O'Neill, our tech guy, is good at working. He works with bands and he does all the audio, video, YouTube style stuff for bands. So he's putting it all together. I don't know how he's doing it, but he did the pilot just fine. So he seems to have a system for figuring it out.
It starts off in pre-production, where it was very important that we ensured that all of the performers knew the importance of the sync tone. That tone basically helps me sync up every single video so they're all playing in sync, so that I don't have to do it by hand.
I was thrilled when Beth Reed, the current executive director of the NSPC, asked me to participate in this project. First thing we did is to record the music with the USC University Orchestra. And that was basically a regular rehearsal and audio recording situation. But then we had to do a green screen recording with me mime conducting to the audio recording that we had made. We had 3 cameras set up, and the hard part in that situation was trying to sync my movements to the recording. So I was basically following the recording rather than leading the orchestra as a conductor normally does. And this was done so that when the children saw me conducting, they could find the tempos, the fermatas, the ritardandos, the crescendos, etc., that fit with the recording.
From there, we're going to end up with upwards of maybe 400 videos, and we're going to basically plot them out in 3D space. And by combining all of these components, you end up with this illusion of depth, so that in the end, people will be tricked into thinking that all of these people are actually sharing an environment or a space, and that they all were in the same place at the same time.
Greater Than was a piece that I just started writing by hand. You can actually see a little bit of my manuscript here. Actually, this is the entire piece. I sketched the entire piece by hand. And there are moments in here that are very detailed, where I hear all the counter lines. And there are moments where I just have the melodic line with a chord structure written above it. Starting off at the very beginning, I heard this, and this is what I heard without the piano. I heard this idea of so you can hear how everything is building, right? Well, this is where the idea of having the multiple orchestras really comes in, because here's your first orchestra. This is the advanced level by themselves. Enter the second orchestra with them, and you can hear the change in sound, or you can even imagine it. Add the third orchestra. Everybody's here. Stretching phrase. And then the orchestra started to come away. Suddenly you're left with just the original. And here they are. So all those moments where you can really, again, use the power of all 3 orchestras to completely be a game changer in my mind. Versus just having the advanced level and then the other 2 just kind of watered down versions of it. I think it really is a game changer when you think about those 1 and 2 levels as orchestrational opportunities and as color opportunities, versus just saying, well, we're going to see how we can water this down to work for kids that don't have the technical ability of an older player. Which meets everything that I stand for, right? I've never written a piece that says, well, musically I wish I could do more, but I'm just going to have to water it down to meet the technical ability of a kid. I'm always about how much music can I throw at them. And so this piece was an opportunity to combine those 2 things together.
I think it hopefully will give a large voice to string music education, to the diversity of the NSPC, the dual role for student teachers and for children that the NSPC serves, but also the broader role of music education amongst our children. The more we see that, the more thrilling that is to see and to watch. I think that's beneficial for all of us.
Music is important to me because of so many different aspects. Of course, it allows me to express myself, but at the same time, the relationships that I've been able to build through music are just indispensable. I don't know if I could have made as many friends this way, and how I've been able to make friends throughout the area, even from other countries through music. I don't think I could have done it any other way.
Music to me is all about expression, so I feel as if I can express myself no matter what through any circumstance with music. The music teacher shows the class that music can impact you so much, and of course, I felt that impact, and I want to share that impact with others.
Music means a lot of friends and a lot of things to do. When you're you get to play a bunch of things that are very exciting and fun, and music makes me so happy and joyful.
I think it teaches students not only individual responsibility of knowing their own part and knowing that what they do affects the entire group, both positively and negatively. And I think they take that with them into life, that the things that they do individually in all aspects of life is something that will affect everybody around them.
For me, this piece reminded me of the work that we did 20 years ago in starting the NSPC. We started with a small idea that all children should have access to music and strings in elementary, middle, and high school. And it has grown into a large and successful national movement with hundreds of teachers and thousands of students. I never imagined that it would affect the lives of really so many people. I hope that they'll have enjoyed the experience of being part of something greater than themselves.
We need music because we need music. We don't say we need lunch because it's good for our math. Lunch is good for our math, but we need lunch. We need music because we're human beings, and it's really that simple.
I'm always trying to figure out what can we do for people beyond music, right? It's one thing to teach about music so that kids will stay in music, but I'm really looking at what can we do to shed light on the world beyond music and use music as a vehicle to do that. In this case, I saw places all over the world that did not know each other, right? I saw kids from all different kinds of backgrounds, some of which could not afford to be in a string program if they didn't have a string project, some of which could afford it but simply had no program to join if it weren't for their local string project. And so I saw the amount of service happening, and I was really, affected emotionally by the fact that this is a project that could take people from all different backgrounds and all different locations and bring them together.